Maverick Sky here. Now I've been using Sony Alpha cameras for a few years now in favor of camcorders. Now I had a really nice camcorder that I was using before I switched to Sony Alpha, and then I had I actually had a plethora of higher end point and shoot cameras that didn't have interchangeable lenses. But then I made the plunge and went 100% Sony Alpha. Out in the wilderness I hear possibly bear activity. And what are my thoughts? You know, after using Sony Alpha for a few years, would I go back to a camcorder? Would I go back to a high-end, non-interchangeable lens camera? And you see me looking down right now, that's my smartphone. One of the things, at least with the current model Sony Alpha that I'm still using the Sony A7R II. I couldn't find a reason to upgrade the A7R III. I know it's got better battery life, but I couldn't find a real reason to upgrade beyond that. So when Sony comes out with a 4K 60 Sony Alpha camera, then I'll probably upgrade. But for now, this is great. And I've really enjoyed the camera. But you can see I'm using my smartphone right here as a viewfinder. I've got it paired with my camera by way of Wi-Fi, and that enables me to see myself, and I can see I've got just a little bit of room above my head within the camera's field of view. That's one thing I would change. If Sony could make, if it pops out to the side or something that pops up to the top so I could see myself face on video when I'm doing these face on video segments. Because I don't know if the A7R II is necessarily marketed as a video camera. I mean, obviously it does have its limitations. Not being a camcorder, the 4K 30 video clips are limited to 29-minute duration, which isn't a problem because most of my video clips are 5 to 10 minutes. So that's not a problem for me. With the original firmware, it did have some overheating challenges. I haven't experienced that with the most current firmware, so they've addressed that. It's been a rock-solid camera. Now, obviously, I've been around the block with lenses, but I've settled on 3 right now, and they're all prime lenses, meaning they're non-zoom. So the lens I'm filming this with is an 85mm Zeiss, and you can find the camera body and all the lenses that I use and the microphone that I'm using right now, and you probably hear water in the background because I'm right beside a stream. But you can find all of that. Check the link within this video's description, expand this video's description, and you can find a link to all my camera equipment and lenses. But I've really found that the prime lenses, the non-zoom lenses, since I use an 85 like I'm using now, also a 50mm, and also a 25mm, with that trilogy, I can pretty much film anything. Now obviously with a non-zoom lens, you're going to have to walk closer or further away from your subject, because like a zoom lens, you know, you can zoom in or zoom out. You can't do that with prime lenses. But I found the video quality, the outstanding video quality, to be well worth the initial inconvenience of not having a zoom lens. Once you use prime lenses for a while, you'll probably get used to it. And it may be that for your personal preference, you may want to put a zoom lens on a mirrorless camera, and that's perfectly acceptable. There's some really high-end examples of zoom lenses for mirrorless cameras. So that's perfectly acceptable. Now the reason I don't really care that much for the Sony G Master is that it's such a heavy lens, and I found that I can carry my 3 prime lenses. Now obviously I've got to swap them out if I want to change focal length, but I found I can carry these 3 prime lenses more conveniently than carrying that one G Master that's 24 to 70. But and part of that's due to the fact that the lens on the camera, when I've got it around my neck, the lens I'm using, it's not as heavy as the G Master. So I love it. I mean, I don't think I could go back to a camcorder after doing this, because I can take rock solid still photos, I can get rock solid video, and with the mic jack on the top, if I'm not recording externally with my Rode NTG2, this mic that I'm filming with the that I'm using on the camera right now, and you can find it within this video's description. This Sony mic, I think the audio quality on it is perfectly acceptable. Now, obviously, you're hearing the stream right now because I'm beside a stream. I probably should have used a lavalier mic if I wanted to eliminate that, but yeah, it's very good. And see, I'm still here. You can still see myself in the viewfinder. Super nice. And what I found with this camera, originally, and a lot of people have said, man, the autofocus, you can see it focus hunting, it's jumping around when it's trying to maintain focus. What I've done to fix that is that I kind of do a fake manual mode, meaning that it's not 100% manual. But what I'll do, and check out my video, check the link within this video's description and find my tutorial video for this. But what I do is kind of I'll call it a fake manual mode, meaning that some of the functions are automatic, but as far as the focus is concerned, I kick it into manual focus. So this video is a manual focus. So throughout, from start to finish of this video, you shouldn't have seen any of that wonkiness, that autofocus hunting, or whatever you want to call it. You shouldn't have seen any of that. This should have been somewhat spot on throughout the video. And also what I like about this camera and these lenses, I mean, this is an f1.8 lens, but I'm not filming at f1.8 right now. I think I'm filming at f8, but I can really, if I want to, and that brings up a gripe. So with this being an autofocus lens, even though I can manually focus and see myself within the smartphone app, if I want to kick it, if I want to change the aperture to say f1.8, if I've changed the aperture, if I'm in that aperture mode, I can't control the aperture when I'm using the smartphone as a viewfinder. So that's a mild complaint. So like right now, the background of mine is, my background's not really that defocused because I am at like an f8 aperture. But if I was at an f1.8, I would have to use an externally connected by way of HDMI, which isn't a problem, viewfinder, so that I could see myself and make sure that I'm in the camera's field of view appropriately, properly framed. So that is a mild complaint, because I would much rather have this video being filmed at f1.8. But you can't have everything. But all in all, would I go back? I don't think I could ever go back to a camcorder after using these Sony Alphas. So I hope this video helped. Again, check the link within this video's description. You can find where to order this camera, the lenses, the microphone, tripod, and a whole lot more. If you like my channel, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe. If you want to support my channel, again, support is not required, but it's definitely appreciated. I am an independent YouTuber. Expand this video's description. You can find my Patreon link there. You can support iRickSky on Patreon if you choose to do so. Thanks for watching, and y'all have a good day. Hey y'all, iRickSky here. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe, like, and share. It's viewers like you that enable my channel to continue to grow. Thank you.